Let's move on now to discussing in-text citations. An in-text citation is different from a bibliographic citation, and it has a separate set of rules, which I put in the citation rules handout. So you can follow along on the second page of that handout now. You use in-text citations to indicate when you use information and/or words from one of your sources. So when you're writing your final project, you're going to be reporting on what you learned from the sources you read. Okay, your news article, your website, and your journal article. So you are going to need to quote your sources and paraphrase the sources. And after you use that information, you have to show where it came from. Of course, this is to protect yourself against plagiarism, but it's also so that a reader can say, oh, she learned this from this place, I want to learn more, I'm going to find that article, okay? This is done by putting small bits of information from the bibliographic citation into parentheses following the information from the source. So, let's talk about direct quotes. A direct quote is when you use the exact same words as the source, okay? You can quote many words or just a few, but anytime that you use the same words as the source, you need to provide quotation marks around those words and then provide the in-text citation that gives the information as to the original source. So, if here I'm saying that a new study shows that chocolate has many benefits, okay? I'm going to lead in to the quote with my own words saying that there was a new study that showed this information, okay? So I set the sentence up. These are the exact words, say, that I read on the website. The author wrote those exact words, okay? I can use them if I put my quotation marks around them. That signals to the reader these are someone else's words. Now, following my quotation marks, I don't put a period or a comma or anything at the end of the quote. I have a space, then I have a parentheses, followed by an in-text citation, which is in the parentheses, then the period comes. So this is the in-text citation. What goes in an in-text citation? As much information as you can that follows these rules. Author's last name, if you have it, followed by a comma, date, if you have a date, comma, followed by the page number, if you have it. So say it is a website, there's no page number, your in-text citation would look like this. Okay? Let's say it's a web page and it has no author. Just like in the bibliographic citations, you use the title, you do the same thing here. Okay, quotes around the title, comma, date. Okay, this is what you do if you have no author. So take a minute to let that sink in, maybe rewind, watch what I've said again, look at some of the examples, okay? It's very important to have these in-text citations. And I want to impress upon you that if you don't have any citations, or if you have extremely inaccurate in-text citations on the final project, that's plagiarism and the assignment will be a 0, okay? So let's move on now to the concept of a paraphrase. This definitely confuses some students because it's all your own words. Paraphrase means that you have taken the information, the idea from a source, but you're putting it in your own words. You are not using the exact same words. So here's an example of me paraphrasing this information. A new study shows chocolate is really good for you. Okay, so I'm saying the same thing. Chocolate has many benefits is the author's words. Chocolate's really good for you, my words, same meaning. But just because it's my own words does not mean I don't have to cite it. You do. So anytime you take information from an article or a web page, a source of any kind, and you put it in your own words, you still must put the in-text citation at the end. However, you will not have the quotes because the words are not exactly the same. What does this mean for assignment 3? For assignment 3, part 2, you're practicing direct quotes and in-text citations. So for part 2, I ask you to go through at least 2 of your sources and identify 2 direct quotes you think you might use on the final project. Okay? These quotes would therefore be information that is very important to someone knowing about your research topic. So you want to pick 2 quotes that really communicate crucial information. When you choose a direct quote, it should be a sentence that is not easy to put in your own words. So quotes that are important but maybe have lots of scientific words or a complex idea that you can't easily use a thesaurus and put in your own words, that's a great time to use a direct quote. And I feel that direct quotes should not exceed 5 or 6 sentences in your final project. Okay, you don't want more than 6 sentences in a direct quote. That's getting a bit unnecessarily long. So go ahead and look at the example assignment 3 where I have a direct quote. You'll notice that all I have done is started with quotes, provided the information, ended with quotes, and then I provide the in-text citation where I got it from that's appropriate for the source. In my example, I used my news article, which I only had the author and the date for. So if you're looking at the example, it's just parentheses, the author's last name, comma, date, parentheses, period. That's it. Okay? My second example is from my journal article where I put all of the author's last names, because there's only 4, followed by a comma, followed by the date, followed by a little p, and the page number those sentences came from. Okay? So if you're using something with a page number, you make sure you put the accurate page number for where that quote came from. So here, if you look carefully at the assignment, you'll realize I'm just pulling sentences from the sources, and those sentences contain important information. How you'd use that in the final project would be to write your own words around it, use these quotes to support what you're saying, and then cite it there at the end to show readers where you got it from. Then, in assignment 3, the last part of part 2 there is paraphrasing, where you have to do 2 things. You have to provide a direct quote, and then you have to paraphrase it to practice putting information in your own words. So good papers have a combination of direct quotes and paraphrasing. You shouldn't always be quoting someone else. You can take that information from the source, put it in your own words to improve the flow and clarity of your paper. So let's look at my example on a sample assignment 3. I quoted my news article again saying, the FDA clearly hold a similar view to pediatricians. In May last year, the organization announced it would be investigating the safety of caffeine in food products, particularly products aimed at children and adolescents. The FDA are concerned that many food and drink products, such as jelly beans, waffles, syrup, and chewing gum, now have caffeine added to them to enhance their stimulating effect. End quote, parentheses, Whiteman, comma, 2014, parentheses, period. So there's a direct quote with the in-text citation. Now I'm going to say the same information, but in my own words. Okay. Paraphrase. The FDA is concerned that certain products consumed by children or adolescents contain unnecessary amounts of caffeine. Products such as jelly beans and chewing gum have caffeine added. The FDA will be determining the safety of caffeine in these products. Whiteman, 2014. I still provide that in-text citation even though I put it in my own words because I learned it from that source. So that when you do your paraphrasing, I need to see your direct quote and I need to see you be accurate in your putting it in your own words, followed by the in-text citation there, okay? So if you have questions about this, send me an email. So now then, I would like to finish up this video series with a brief discussion of the final project. So please take out the sample final project, okay? I want everyone's final project to look professional. I want everyone's final project to look carefully written. You're going to be copying and pasting it into the forum for the final weeks of the class to share with everyone, because it doesn't do anyone that much good to just collect a bunch of information and let it sit in their mind. I want you to share what you've learned with everyone else so that your classmates can read what you have learned and then learn themselves. There's been a lot of awesome enthusiasm for each other's research that I've been reading in the forums, and I'm so glad to see that everyone's excited about other people's projects. So let's share it, but let's make sure that when we share it, we write clearly with few to no grammar errors and careful in-text citations. So make sure that you have your name at the top of your final project, just like I have on the example. You should have a title. And the first thing you're gonna have is one paragraph of background information. It's best to take your background information from here. It's best to take the background information from your news article and webpage, because those are the most basic sources you use to learn about your topic. So what you're going to do as you read through my background information, notice how I have a lot of those parentheses with the citations. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 or 8 citations. Every time I use information from a source, after that sentence is over, I put the parentheses in the in-text citation. I'm going to be looking for that when I read your papers, okay? The background information will serve to give an overview of your topic to someone who is unfamiliar. Moving on to the section where I ask you to explain current research, this is where you're going to give me a short paragraph that summarizes what you learned from your journal article. Share with us what you learned from the journal article. Again, make sure to cite. Here you probably will have page numbers, so be accurate with your page numbers in your in-text citations. And if you would like, you can use bullet points. That is fine if it helps you stay organized. But notice as you look at the example how I make it look organized and clean. This is what you're going for. Finally, your conclusion section should be all your own words. No need to cite in the conclusion. Here, you're going to write what you hope your classmates will take away from having read your paper and what you hope they remember if they ever need to act on something related to this topic in their lives, okay? Finally, your last page, a separate page, will be your reference list. And so if you look at my reference list, you'll notice that anything that I provided an in-text citation for in the paper appears on my reference list. It's alphabetical by author's last name in terms of each citation following an alphabetical order, right? So if you look at my first, the first reference, the author's last name is Burroughs. My second reference, the author's last name is Whiteman. So Burroughs comes before Whiteman, even though within the citation, the author's names, as I said earlier, appear in the order they were listed on the article. But overall, they should be in alphabetical order. And this is where you follow the bibliographic citation rules, okay? So I know this was a lot of information to give you, but the cool thing is it's a video and you can watch it as many times as you need to, pause it, work on your assignments. If you have questions, please email me the question, and if you can, give me an example of what you've tried to do, and then I can send it back, correct it, and explain. All right, so good luck with these upcoming assignments. Please stay aware of due dates and email me ASAP if you need anything. Thank you.